Little red light is on. That means we are recording. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Word Vomit podcast / vidcast. I am the stubborn SOB. That's what it says on my little nameplate right over there. We've got Randy Kings, Sean Vander, and special guest.
Special guest.
Way to steal the thunder of the special guest there, Mr. Vander.
I made it quick. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Hunter is on the show with us today.
Thanks, folks. Thanks for having me.
We are a podcast / videocast where we talk about video games, comics, movies, television streaming. You can check us out on wherever you get your podcasts, and check us out on YouTube because we put this up on YouTube as well. Guys, what is up?
Well, I'm excited because we have our first returning guest, I guess.
Yeah, I did one with you guys before.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Well, not first, but it's his first time coming back since we did that last one with him.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't a video podcast, though.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that was just audio, I think.
Yeah, which is fine, but it was audio that we did in the good old comic shop there.
In the comic shop, yeah. That was I think, soon after my wife and I took over the shop. So,
yeah, for people who don't know, Josh Hunter here, he owns a comic shop called Crush Comics in Castro Valley here in the Bay Area. And you used to work there, right, bud?
I did, yeah. So a quick little backstory. I worked so the shop's been around since like 1990, right? So this year's actually 30th anniversary, which is crazy. But I worked for the previous owner, Mike, for like 7 years, and then I went and did my own thing in Silicon Valley, made some money, and kind of hated that, and then came back and I was like, hey, I love the shop. Like, let me buy the shop. So me and my wife, we took over the shop in 2017. So this is our 3rd year of running it. And the 3 years have been kind of tumultuous. Well, especially this last year, 2020 is crazy. So yeah.
I feel like we need a do-over.
Do-over. Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
A do-over.
I really want to reboot 2020. Like, this feels like a Infinite Crisis moment or something. Like, yeah. So that's what we're doing. Running a comic shop. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is super rad. For people who don't know, if you don't go to a local comic shop, and if you live here in the Bay Area and you're listening to us, stop by Crush Comics. They're really dope. We just do this. Like, this is what it looks like. It's super awesome. I've been there, quite a few times. It's not as much lately.
We were at the opening event when you took over.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We were there.
Awesome. Oh yeah, that's right. I think it was Batman Day. We made a Batman Day.
Batman Day.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Super rad. But yeah, I mean, I've tried to stop by there every so often. Josh actually helped me out by 3D printing out something for my Surface docking station that I'm using right now.
Yeah.
And it works great. And
cool,
then,
man.
and I also I ordered some comic books, and I was like, okay, I'll see them like in a week, and they showed up like that weekend. Like, I think I did the order like on a Wednesday or something, and like they just arrived very quickly. So
that's not always the case.
I will
that's
say
an
for me,
exceptional case.
Don't get used to it.
Yeah. I will say for my experience, I mean, granted, I also live fairly close, and it was a time. I'm sure there was a window where you're like, all right, I can drop this off now, or I can put this in delivery now.
Yeah. No, so one pretty cool thing about the shop is yesterday's our first day. So we're in Alameda County, and yesterday's the first day that Alameda County has been allowed to open indoor retail because of the whole COVID thing. So like yesterday was like our mini grand reopening thing. Yeah, kind of cool. So we're now open. We can let 3 customers in the shop at a time. You got to wear a mask and wash your hands and all that stuff. But it's cool. It's really cool to be open again.
Is the Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter machine still in there?
It is, but we're leaving that off for right now. Yeah.
Can't have
it attracts too many people.
You can't maintain 6 feet of distance when you're
Also, them buttons attract a lot of dirt.
That's true. We sanitize those quite a bit, but we never play it, so maybe we don't have to. I don't know. Yeah.
No, man. No weak points, man. You can't let it win.
Yeah.
Be vigilant. You can't let it win. Clean it all.
So we're really happy that you're on the show, Josh, especially because of everything that's going on right now between DC Comics and Diamond Comics Distributors.
Yeah.
I mean, you have first-hand experience with this now, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's unfortunately, like, there isn't a whole lot that we as retailers get to know. Like, like about the nitty gritty, and I've got some theories of my own about what's going on. But
so if anybody who's listening and doesn't know what we're talking about,
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so DC Comics has announced that they will no longer be going through Diamond Comics distributors to distribute out comics to comic book shops, to the local comic book shops. I think there was a bit of an addendum done to where they'll at least finish off whatever orders they have right now, just to take care of those
for some products. Yeah.
For some, but that the relationship is split. And I like to compare the business practices of Diamond Comics to EA before EA was doing it. Like Diamond Comics were the ones that were kind of like starting things off, buying up competitors, absorbing them so that they had less and less competition, so that you kind of have to go through them. But they were also considered a necessary evil because they kind of leveled the playing field as far as pricing for comics. But now that this situation is happening and local comic book shops have to go to different distributors, there's also the very, very considerable possibility that because of this, the increase in comics price is going to go up, because you have different distributors, how much they distribute, and of course it all gets taken out of the comic book shop before the comic book shop can start making money and selling them. So I wanted to get Josh's thoughts on this, because this is firsthand. Like Randy was saying, like you are directly affected by this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, first off, what can you tell us as somebody who runs a comic book shop, what it's like to deal with Diamond Comics?
Okay. So it's cool because I have some experience, like from watching like an owner deal with Diamond, and then, you know, becoming a partner with Diamond, since we took over. Diamond's been the only name in, comic book periodical distribution for like 25 years in America, right? If you got a weekly comic or a monthly comic, it somewhere Diamond handled that book, right? I think it was in like 1995 that there used to be tons of distributors, right? There was
97.
97. There were tons of distributors, and it was all of these like guys that were like, hey, I'm into comics, I can get them from the publisher, I can buy in quantities bigger than a shop can, so I'm gonna distribute for them. And it was cool because you had warehouses that like comic shop owners could go to and be like, all right, I want, you know, 25 copies of X-Men 216, right? And I want 10 copies of Superman or whatever. So that was like a really cool model, but I don't know if you want to call it vertical integration or what, but at the end of the day, like Diamond was the last distributor standing. Like they bought, like you said, they bought up a bunch of other small distributors. And there's this really cool book, if anybody's interested in the nitty gritty of this stuff, called Comic Shop, by Dan Guarino, and he deals with like the birth of the direct market. He like does a little history lesson. Really cool. Anyway, so for 25 years, Diamond has been the only person that you could go to get comics. And Diamond's not the best at what they do, but they're the only ones at what they were the only ones at what they do. And it was our only choice. So it always felt like, you know, Diamond shorted us these books, or they damaged these books, or I lost this box. Like, damn it, Diamond, like, what's your problem, you know? And since they don't have any competition, they don't really have any motive to get better at what they do, at least from a retailer's perspective. But the thing that often gets lost in these discussions about Diamond and them having a monopoly is their job is huge. Like there's something like 2,000 comic book shops in America, and then the last I heard there was like 800, you know, worldwide that Diamond was servicing. So you've got like 3,000 different accounts with like hundreds of thousands of different items that you're shipping. Like the logistics of this thing are crazy, right? So like it's almost not surprising that there was never another company that stepped up because I mean, honestly, there isn't a lot of money in comics anyway, right? Like, Diamond's, my margins are thin. Diamond's margins are thin. Nobody's making money in comics.
You can pay the rent. You made
yeah,
it.
you made it, right? I had someone talking to me after I bought the comic shop, and they were like, you know how you make a small fortune running a comic shop? And I was like, no, how's that? And they're like, well, you start with a large fortune. And it's like, it's
Yeah.
Damn, that
it's
ouch.
Oh,
yeah,
that
That was a
hurts, but
large
it's so true.
it's pretty
Oh.
true, right? Like there's nobody that sells comics because they want to make money. Everybody sells comics because they love comics. And so that's, I guess, where we were, right, with Diamond. And COVID hit. And COVID, you know, we're just a tiny industry. Like, COVID has changed the face of everything, right? Like we're meeting on Zoom. Like, what happened to Skype, right? Where did Skype go? Why are we on Zoom? But
There's a reason
So-
for that.
Yeah,
Zoom's friendlier.
oh, really?
Well, Mike, let's also, because a lot of, like, I know Zoom because it's corporate friendly, it's easy to use, it's all these things. Also, I think Microsoft has been, because they own Skype, and they've been slowly ditching it because they have groups or meet. I forgot what theirs is called. They have commercials for it.
They're like,
They-
they have a
they're like-
competing
Yeah,
product.
they're like,
product.
we're gonna phase this out, guys. Later's.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're trying to phase out like Internet Explorer is gone. So
Yeah. So COVID hits, and we're all freaking out, right? Because comic shops, we have a weekly shipment, and then we have a weekly bill. So like running a comic shop is almost like you're marching to a drum, and any like disruption to that can really throw us off. So everybody was freaking out about, you know, how are we going to pay the bills? We were actually one of the first counties to be shut down in the nation too. So like, even if I was getting, you know, my weekly shipment of comic books, I wouldn't be able to sell them to my customers, right? So Diamond, I think, did the smartest thing, and really the only thing that could be done. They halted shipping to every shop in the country. They just said, okay, you know, we're going to shut down our shipping facilities. We're not going to ship anything. Everything's on pause. And they sent a letter to, like, you know, their suppliers, the publishers like DC and Marvel, and they said, we're not going to pay you right now. We're gonna let this ride for a little bit, and then we're going to start paying you. So from my perspective, and I this isn't like a universal perspective across retailers, because some retailers were not closed, and all of a sudden, you know, their lifeblood was shut off, right? Like I don't know, a shop in Texas is still open. They're not getting comics now. So how are they going to pay their rent, right? So, but I think if Diamond kept shipping comics, like we were like fully closed, like shut down for like a month and a half. Like I couldn't have paid that month and a half of bills without selling those books. So I think Diamond had to do that to really save comic shops, period. DC wasn't happy with this decision. And DC was like DC's part of Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers was recently bought by AT&T, and there's rumors that AT&T is like freaking out about the debt payments they're going to have to make on all the money that they borrowed to buy Warner Brothers.
Yeah, we'll
I don't know
probably get
how-
to that later, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is, but anyway, DC said, hey, we still want to ship comics, so they set up two new distributors, UCS and Lunar. And these two companies, they didn't tell us at the time, but they're actually subsidiaries of what's it called, Midtown Comics and DCBS, Discount Comic Book Service, I think is their acronym. These are the two biggest mail order comic shops in the country, right? So they said, we want to ship you guys comics. We're not going to go through Diamond because Diamond shut down. So set up a new account with these guys and order your books, and we'll sell them. Oh, and you know, on the side, we're also going to start selling digitally right now, because that was like a rule that I think Diamond had put in place, or somebody put in place, was that comic publishers couldn't release digital versions before they were in stores. It's day and date. So all of a sudden, if comic shops had the chance, even if they weren't taking it, to get comic book comic books on the shelves, then DC could say, okay, we're gonna sell them digitally now too. So it seemed like a move that DC made to at least service the two largest accounts in the industry, and also be able to sell digitally. And then, some number of comic shops would order books and maybe sell them through the pandemic. I don't know how they would do that. But it felt like, from my perspective and from the perspective of a lot of retailers, like this is a move for them to make some money quick. And in this whole thing, like it came out that these two new distributors were owned by DCBS in Midtown. And that's kind of a weird thing, right? Like that's like making, your local grocery store, your mom and pop grocery store, order their eggs from like Safeway. Like it's just kind of a weird potential conflict of interest, right? That's one thing that Diamond is not a retailer, so I never have to compete with Diamond. But like DCBS and Midtown, they're gonna compete with me for my customers as much as they can, right? So that was weird. And then the thing is they only beat Diamond back to the market by 2 weeks, so it wasn't even like a significant like head start on selling books.
Probably more of like a jerk reaction by DC, like, oh, we got to do something now, and well, this is what we have. Okay, go with it, and then just
So so that all happened, and from what I understand, not many like retailers jumped on board with that. We were like, nah, we're just gonna wait a couple weeks for Diamond, and there was like this whole hashtag movement among retailers that was like hashtag wait for Diamond stuff. It's a weird time, you guys. It's a very weird time.
So saying it sounds weird to me. Like, wait, what?
So one of the things that I there's a video that I watched regarding this. Can't remember the name of the content creator. I'll look it up in just a sec.
Yeah.
But he was somebody who worked in a comic book store, and he basically echoed a lot of the things that you said. Whenever they would receive packages from Diamond, there was a good chance that a chunk of it was going to be damaged or missing. And whatnot. But it was just kind of one of the things that, as a comic book shop owner or operator, that comes with the territory. And then he started saying how certain local comic book shops will be responding, and I want to ask you this because I want to see if that's kind of what you did. Now, because DC is doing what they're doing, a lot of comic book shop owners have said that, well, what they're probably going to do is they're probably going to put more focus on other franchises like Marvel, Dark Horse, put those up on the new release section, not to necessarily say not to carry DC anymore, but not advertise it prominently, and kind of just lean towards the other companies.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please.
Yeah. So real quick, like after DC started this, we had a couple weeks where we were still able to get our stuff through Diamond. We could go with these new distributors, which is cool because that gave us as retailers a choice, right? That was like some competitive pressure on Diamond. And that's like a good thing, right? Like we want to break up this monopoly. We want Diamond to get better. And if that takes, a couple other upstart publishers, then cool. The problem is, like, a few weeks later, DC completely broke ties with Diamond and said, we're not going to ship anything through you guys anymore, starting like today. And they dropped the news on a Friday, and they said, all of you guys that don't yet have accounts with these new distributors, you got to get open by Monday because that's when the new orders are due. All of your previous orders are canceled. You got to set up a new account over the weekend and get it done, right? And so a couple things, like, one, that's dumb. Like, logistically, that's just dumb. You want like 1,000 accounts to open over a weekend for these guys that are brand new to the distribution.
So you're probably going to crash some servers with everybody trying to do it all at once.
Exactly. And then, like, it felt like you were saying, like a knee-jerk reaction, like just very, like, if they had said, okay, at the end of 2020, we're going to break ties with Diamond, So get ready, right? Like that is a like reasonable timeline for a huge like seismic shift in an entire industry. But they wanted to do it over a weekend. So that feels a little vindictive. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with DC and Diamond. But anyway, so that all went down. Now we don't have that choice, right? They just moved the monopoly that Diamond had to another distributor. Like you can choose between like Lunar and UCS, but one's on one side of the country and the other's on the other side. So it's kind of like a geographic monopoly, right? Like, so anyway, that's all crazy. One thing that we've decided to do is we don't know what shipping costs are going to be like through these new publishers. I've seen some shops say that they're paying almost as much as shipping as they are for the books. So they're not making any money off of these books. And I mean, like you're going from a company that used to doing freight bulk shipping to companies that have always been set up for like consumer shipping. So it's no surprise that it's going to be weird for a while.
Especially because, as you mentioned before, all over the weekend. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure even like Lunar Midtown Comics were like, wait, what? We gotta do this.
Yeah,
we got to do it this quickly.
Yeah. So for us, what we're going to do is everybody that's subbed to like Batman, we're going to fill your subs. We're going to order that. But normally, like, you know, I would order a few extra books for the stands that I thought were going to be hot. Maybe I save that money, right? Especially if it's questionable if I'm going to make any money off of it at all, like considering that shipping prices are unknown. What is really cool about this entire event is that there's a number of smaller publishers that have really stepped up to like show their love for comic book shops. Like, for instance, Boom Studios, I really want to become like the number 3 comic publishers. They do really good work, and almost all of their titles are fully returnable for a comic shop. One really good book, Once in Future, if you guys haven't read it, you should read it. I think it just got optioned for a movie or something. Ooh, it's excellent. Sweet. And this is like an instance of Diamond dropping the ball for us and then the publisher coming through. So we were very excited for this book. Karen Gillan was writing it. This guy, Dan Mora, is on art, and he's killer. We were very pumped. I ordered 60 copies of this book, and I never order 60 copies of an indie book. Like, I'll order 60 copies of X-Men. I have a hard time selling 60 copies of anything that isn't Marvel or DC, right? But I love this book. I love the art. I ordered 60 copies, and Diamond shorted us all 60 copies. Like, we didn't get any. Wow. So I messaged the retailer representative from Boom, and she's like, I've got 60 copies on my desk. I'm going to overnight them right now. And she sent them. So we had them for release. So Boom is awesome. I love that studio. They do great work, and they're really like retailer friendly.
So that actually leads to the next question, because you mentioned that because of this, it also allows other publishers and vendors to go into different routes. It's a really major blow, and especially with such a time crunch within a 2-day span. Let's be honest, a 2-day Friday. So you have Saturday or Sunday to do this, and then Monday resume business. But this also leads into a change in the market. Yeah. What is it that you're hoping to see now that the gears are turning? Like, you're kind of stuck with what you got right now, but what are you hoping to see because of this?
Honestly, I really hope that DC decides to start distributing through Diamond again. Like, and they've come back from the brink a little bit, right? Like you had mentioned, they had previously said that nothing is shipping, but now they've decided to go back and fulfill some orders that were made up to a certain date. They did just pull away like their entire collectibles line, like DC Direct. All of that stuff is no longer going to be through Diamond. But I hope that they can come back. And if Lunar and UCS do good work, like, I hope we have 3, and like maybe some of the smaller publishers look at these smaller distributors, and then we have some competition in the distribution marketplace, and maybe we get some improvement from Diamond.
Or Diamond just buys them all up.
I don't know. So that's the thing again, is I don't know if there's enough money for Diamond
No,
to
I
do
don't
that.
think
Right?
Diamond's got.
Yeah, Diamond, because of all this, Diamond isn't as prominent financially as it
Yeah.
once was.
But even before that, right? I don't think Diamond was ever like sitting on boatloads of cash.
No.
One thing that I am very afraid of, right? And this was a realization that I had a couple years ago. So Diamond, I need to sell a certain number of books a month to make my rent, right? Diamond has that same problem, just feeding into or being fed from a bunch of comic shops, right? Like say Diamond needs 1,700 comic shops to run. Through COVID, we're going to lose some comic shops, unfortunately. Like that's just, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
With DC stepping away from Diamond, that's like, I think like 20 to 30% of their market share, right? There's got to be some lower limit of, you know, of like money coming in where Diamond just isn't feasible as a whole anymore. And I don't like I can run the best comic book shop in the world. Not that I do, but I still wouldn't be able to support Diamond on my own. Right. And so
imagine
I'm just afraid.
How many DC comics would you have to sell if you it was just you?
Just
me.
Just a day.
That's not work that I want to have. Like, it's crazy.
Put that on him. Don't put that on him.
Yeah.
Don't you put that on me, Rookie Bobby. Don't you put that on me.
Don't put that poison on me. Yeah, so I think that's a scary thing is that if Diamond were to fail, like what do we do as comic shops? You know, what would Marvel do? Marvel would probably try to self-distribute. A lot of the indie shops or indie publishers like Image, what would Image do? They'd all have to set up their own distribution infrastructure. And
they'd have to go like, directly through the consumer at that point.
Yeah. And then that makes comics more expensive all the way around. So yeah, like Diamond isn't the best, right? But they're kind of, like you said, they're like a necessary evil. And Diamond, I mean, like I really feel strongly that Diamond shutting down for the 2 months of COVID was absolutely necessary. And I think they single-handedly like saved the market. Depending well, if we all survive the rest of this, we'll see.
I like to compare the idea of Diamond is to comics as GameStop is to video games. Like you see a lot of things where it's just like, I disagree with that business practice. I think that's terrible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it keeps everything else in check. We were talking about this before in another podcast, and Randy had brought it up. Because GameStop is around and they're able to regulate pricing on video games at the average of $60 for a new title, a lot of other, I guess, competitors would have to do the same as well, even though there's no direct competition in the sense of another video game store. You have places like Target and Walmart and Best Buy that are like, well, okay, we want them to buy from us. So if we increase the price even by $5, people are going to be like, I'm just going to go to GameStop and pick up my game.
Yeah.
So, you know, it makes it so that you have to play ball. And that's kind of the same idea behind Diamond as well. It's just like, they what was the comic? They actually were so upset with the image of childbirth in the comic that they were like, we're not going to keep this comic and we're not going to order it. We're not going to distribute it. And we hope none of you do it either. And by none of you, I mean local comic book shops.
Yeah.
And they're like, I guess we're not going to get that comic then, because again, Diamond is the main distributor.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's cool. I think that's terrible. But at the same time, it kind of leveled the playing field for everybody. So it's one of those, it's a double-edged sword no matter what.
They're not perfect, but what good they do good.
Yeah. One of the things that I was thinking about is you're right, when like other smaller distributors started coming up, stepping up, trying to take care of it, and it starts creating that competition, because as you mentioned, because Diamond was not the main, well, they didn't have any competition. It was the monopoly all the way through. You know, they can try to ship 1,000 comics in a small Amazon box. Let's just use that for comparison. It's just like, you know that in that box, a good portion of your comics are going to be damaged, and that's your product. That's what you have to sell in order to make money so that you can pay them, pay your rent, pay your employees. Like, that's it, you know? And as I mentioned before, it just comes with the territory. Well, now because this creates that situation, it's just like, well, no, now they can't get away with that. Now it's just like, okay, well, we want to retain these guys. What can we as Diamond Comics do to still stay within the good graces of the local comic shop? It's a symbiotic relationship between shop and distributor. They need each other to survive.
Yeah.
Because if one is gone, everything falls apart.
Yeah. It's a crazy it's a crazy system.
How what's like, how often when you were getting your orders in, how often did anything come in damaged? Like, what's
I mean, so our damage rates, it fluctuates, right? But I mean, generally, like we get like 2 or 3 books that are damaged. It's not that many. God, maybe 500 or 600.
Oh, well, that's
so I mean, the damage rates are they're really low, but every once in a while, and the thing is it's like, it's not just Diamond that's responsible for damage, right?
Yeah,
like
shipping.
So our books are trucked from Memphis, which is where Diamond gets the books. They're trucked there by a separate trucking company, and then they're handed off to UPS for final delivery. So like one time I had a box, a pretty heavy box, and somebody at UPS dropped it on its corner.
Ooh.
So like that whole quarter of the box was just jacked. And Diamond, like, they're, one thing that's good about the way that they handle damages is they're very just like, oh, they're damaged, cool, here's some more, and they send you more. They don't like say, well, how damaged are they? Yeah, take a picture for us. And like, that's actually, I guess, one thing that Lunar and UCS are doing. Like, if I say, hey, I got 5 damaged copies, they're like, okay, send us a picture of them to prove it. And it's like, I've got 500 other books to worry about.
I'm running a comic book shop here.
Yeah, I don't have the time to like send you pictures of it. So it's very weird. And I think like that comes from UCS and Lunar being consumer facing businesses to start. So they just have to like figure out what retailer facing looks like, I guess. Yeah. So I mean, Diamond damages, they're there. I've never had it be super terrible. I don't know.
What was, okay, so you said like at the or like on average, maybe 2 to 3 comics for every 500. But
yeah.
What was the worst that you saw?
I think,
or that you received, excuse me.
That's rough.
Was it that corner box? Was it that corner box?
Yeah, I mean, that's happened a couple times, but I think there was one time where I had probably like 70 copies of books damaged. Like, yeah.
Out of 500 or?
Yeah. So I mean, 70. That's not yet 20%.
Were they those
but...
educational scholastic Marvel books that you get? And not
I had recently I ordered it. Are you guys familiar with Gemini mailers? It's this little cardboard thing. Yeah. So I ordered a whole shipment of those, and when it came, the corner was crunched in, like completely crunched the whole box, and I was like, God damn it. I was very upset. Then I opened the box, and that corner was just empty space.
Oh, well, see, you looked out.
Dodge that bullet.
The reason why that corner was crushed is because there was nothing there.
There was nothing there.
There was no structure to that.
Such a relief. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Josh, we don't want to take up too much of your time.
Cool.
But
you have a comic book store to run.
Yeah, no,
you have a comic book store. But if you can just let us know right now, what should people be looking for as far as when they go into a comic book shop? I mean, of course, you want to go, you want to support your local comic book shop. When one comic book shop wins, all the comic book shops win.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you want to recommend to people right now? You already said one title, but are there any other titles that you want to recommend?
So there's another one that actually just dropped from Boom called Wind. It's a fantasy story about this kid who lives in this place called Pipetown, and he has magical origins, but magical origins are like outlawed. So it's kind of like a loose like comparison to race relations today. It's a cool
almost
book.
X-Men like.
Yeah, almost. But like a fantasy twist. That one's really cool. anything that Jonathan Hickman is writing right now is off the chain. Like he's continuing the X-Men stuff, which you guys have to read House and Powers. I know Randy's read House and Powers. If you guys haven't read that, like, please read it. It's so cool. He's also working on an Image book, Decorum. Ooh. The first 2 issues are out, and that's kind of a fantasy, or well, not. It's like a sci-fi bounty hunter kind of story. Really cool. I don't know what's going on with Batman. Batman's crazy because it was supposed to be out, and then COVID happened, but there's a new character named Punchline, and she's been really popular. But if you guys are looking for back issues is one thing that we're really into in, like, collectible books. If you guys ever see a copy of Ultimate Fallout 4, the first appearance of Miles Morales, that book is blowing up right now. 9.8s, that CGC graded 9.8s have crested $1,400.
Oh my God.
Like 2 years ago, I was selling that book.
How is it that, like, the comic book industry is suffering, but you got comic books worth $1,400?
Well,
I don't have those books. I sold those books for $60 2 years ago. So
it's not that there's not too many. It's
I know.
Many in circulation.
I'm well aware of the whole situation. It's more the collector. I get it, but I'm just saying that still blows my mind.
It's who's paying that price for that book?
Yeah, no, like it's crazy, and I think a lot of that is driven by the Miles Morales game that Sony just showed us the trailer for.
So good.
Super excited for. But yeah, honestly, keep an eye out for that book.
One of the best new Spider-Man characters in the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
Miles Morales
is so cool.
Miles such is so a huge following.
Yeah. That game, the first game was so cool. I'm very excited for the second one. So yeah.
May have to jump back into the first one. Went through New York City catching pigeons.
And also see if that wedding proposal's still there.
It's not.
Oh,
actually patched out.
They took it down.
Oh no! I got patched out.
Should have left it there.
Anybody who doesn't know, delete the patch, play through vanilla version of Spider-Man, and go to the theater. Trust me, it's worth it.
It's like, awesome. This poor bastard.
Oh, that's so terrible.
Yeah.
Still talking about it 2 years later.
Someone spent $1,200 to get that patch approved. And then the time it took to make it, like, we took it out.
Ow.
Anyway,
man.
But yeah, Josh, thanks for coming on, man.
Cool, guys. Thanks very
Josh,
much for having me.
If you got any socials for the shop or yourself, please, by all means, let us know where we can follow you.
Yeah. So at Crush Comics on Facebook and Instagram. Most of our stuff is through Instagram. There's actually a really great comic book collecting community on Instagram, so we do a lot of stuff through there. Our website's just crushcomics.com. There's not much there. That's a little bare bones.
I was going to use that as a share, and I looked at my... You guys don't have anything?
Maybe not so much.
But you do things on Facebook. You do videos. You guys do... I've seen your videos with you and your wife talking about whatever it is.
So every way we do what's called a Social Distance Wednesday show. We just sit around and talk about comics for like an hour. And then every Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific, we do a live claim sale on our Instagram.
Yes.
So we'll talk about cool books, and if you want them, you can buy them. If you're fast enough on the claim. So, Instagram.
All right, folks, you heard that. At Crush Comics on the socials. Check them out on Instagrams and see if we can get some books and help our friend Josh and his shop out.
Thanks, guys. And I'll catch you later.
All right, later.
All right, take it easy.
Thanks a lot, Josh. And then once again, crushcomics.com for the website. Make sure you follow all of their socials. Tons of fun. Cool guy. Like I said, they have the it was originally X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Yeah, go to your local comic book stores.
And definitely. Like I said before, when one comic book shop wins, everybody wins.
There's 2 arcade machines in the back.
There's 2 now. I did not know that. All right.
Manuel is cutting in and out.
All right, cool.
And that's
I'm like, I can't tell because everyone stopped moving for a second, and we can't tell. I'm like, is it Manuel or is it us? He's lagging out.
Am I lagging? Oh no, maybe I'm lagging.
All right.
Now, okay, yeah, I think I'm lagging out because I can't see you guys move. Like everybody's like super still with me on my end, anyways. Oh God!
You saw Sean. Sean's moving on my end. Emmanuel not moving. He's kind of jerky, and Sean and I look great in HD and everything.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's me because I'm going off of a Wi-Fi signal because I'm using a tablet.
Emmanuel's still trying to catch up.
I mean, can you guys hear me all right, or am I delayed?
Ooh.
It's never screwed you over before.
I don't know. I mean, I'm using the same kind of tablet.
I mean, you kind of lag a tiny bit, but
I don't think
really
it's
noticeable.
I think it's because
okay.
I'm not necessarily on a direct line.
Oh,
this is bad.
Oh boy.
Manual, just stop! It's already dead.
Oh, you make it sound like I have some sort of direct control of this.
So,
I have all the Wi-Fi signals.
Because
I don't know what he just
sound
said.
like you're a lagging robot.
You sound
like a lagging robot.
Like that robot from Buck Rogers when he's hammered.
Yeah.
It's because I am hammered.
Yeah.
All right.
No, it just looks like he's paused out. Maybe he's just log off, log back in. I don't know, dude.
I don't know how that would work out.
But that is weird.
Okay.
The minute Josh splits,
yeah,
then everything goes to hell.
I should have kept him on. We should have kept him on.
Well, I mean, the man got a comic book store.
Open it up. I think open.
Yeah, support your local comic book stores.
Yes,
head in.
please.
If you got that, hey, you haven't completed that whole set of Walking Dead, or whatnot. See if you can order some out there. You know, just help.
Or at the very least, buy something small. Anything that they have there, help these business out. If they're allowed to do the walk-ins, but make sure you mask up. Make sure you're social distancing. If they have any rules regarding how many people are in, just be cool about it.
You've ever been curious about certain books, like Kingdom Come? I hear Kingdom Come is the dopest-ish ever.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go to my local comic book store and check that out. Good idea.
Or
go do that.
You've never read the Wolverine Origins book. Go pick it up. They
such a good series.
Now.
There you go.
There you go.
How am I coming in now, guys?
Oh, Emmanuel.
Yep.
I'm still bad, huh?
Same.
A little bit better, I guess.
The same.
Yeah.
Not any better at all.
Oh, Emmanuel.
Nope.
Stop.
Anything he's saying, we don't understand. I don't understand anything he's saying.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I hope this.
No.
I hope this doesn't mess up the fact that you're the one who's recording.
It is. It is.
It's you who's recording this, right? So.
Oh, this is gonna come out terribly.
Can you exit out your video and come back?
Oh.
Yes, I can.
Oh, he's kind of.
We're gonna come. We're gonna sound really bad now. Oh man. Do we all log off?
Manuals. Oh, you're back.
And I think it's still recording too. Holy crap!
And you're.
Nope. Nope.
He's back for a second.
He's back for a second.
Yeah.
Hey, Rand, you want to order?
The button, because I can't do it from here.
Okay, so. All right.
So, because we don't want to lose all the stuff we just did. So
no, we got the interview, so everything's fine. No.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we are, and
Yes,
we're
we're
back,
back,
folks. We had some technical difficulties going on.
Let's call it what it is. Let's call it shitty E-Man Wi-Fi signal. That's what it's called. Shitty E-Man Wi-Fi signal.
It's not necessarily directly your fault, but you could resolve this issue by getting better internet.
Yeah. And actually, we're paying the higher one. So, fun times.
Yeah.
Anybody, if you guys noticed, like towards the end of that interview with Josh, we kind of had like this weird
yeah, as he was leaving
kind of thing.
That goes to show that we should have just kept him in. Like,
yeah,
we gotta stay here now, buddy.
I think I may have been stealing a little bit of his bandwidth while we were at it. So
maybe.
Because that interview went great. It went really, really well. And then unfortunately I got one of the
we were like, what is going on?
Kind of things.
Oh, that was good. That was good stuff. So hopefully this works out better.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Hopefully, like the splicing that I put between video 1 and video 2 isn't that obvious. I mean, if it ever comes down to it, I can always go technical difficulties image again.
Mm-hmm.
That was
do
fun.
that. I would love to do that.
All right. So again, as we were saying before, because I think it ended up getting cut out, make sure you support your local comic book shop. When one comic book shop wins, they all win. It helps everybody out. And there's a lot of cool things that you can read. If you're a parent, there's a lot of comics set out there specifically for younger audiences that you can help them get into. And then while you're at it, pick up your X-Men Origins. You know, the Wolverine Origins is a pretty sick one. If you can get your hands on the Old Man Logan, that's one of my favorites. Definitely grab that bad boy. Just keep it away from the kids.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, depends on age appropriate stuff.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on, guys, because I got appointments in the near future.
Yeah, like get new internet.
Randy, let us know about the new Star Wars Squadron game. EA released the trailer for that, and then immediately, like a day or two later, they released the gameplay trailer of it. And oh man, I gotta say that game looks pretty.
Okay.
Pretty.
EA came out with, just like with Sony and their live event, EA has their own.
Yeah, it was like their play event.
It was their play event.
EA Play.
That's the only highlights to that. Well, yeah, I know it's not a great name at all.
Not a great name, but yeah.
Not at all. But the only real highlights to that, I guess, were maybe Sims and Star Wars Squadron.
Yeah. I mean,
it's basically it.
Let's be honest though. Sims is like is a low key heavy hitter for them because it's not expensive.
Yeah. I didn't know this until somebody said something like Sims has had 37 expansions.
Yeah.
No new game.
Yeah.
Just 37 expansions.
Sims is actually, I mean, last I checked, it's their most profitable franchise.
Yeah.
Like, it may not make the dollar amount revenue-wise, but it is the lowest cost and highest return.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who actually works on it.
You know what? It sounds like a Resident Evil movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, people like it. And then, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that Sims game, I looked at like, damn, this looks kind of fun. I don't know if I have the time to get into it. And I thought about it, I'm like, maybe I do have the time.
Let's stick over more to Star Wars than anything else, because I got to admit, man, that game looks amazing.
It does look rad. The thing that I thought was really funny though is the gameplay video. If no one's seen it yet, we'll watch it. They immediately go, yeah, no microtransactions. They just blatantly say it, like, no microtransactions.
See, I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, it says it. I think they even have it where it's there's a title card that says it in the video. You're like, oh.
Okay, because the videos that I saw were the ones that you sent me.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that. And I listened to it like 3 times. I watched it and listened to it 3 times. I'll be like, where does it say no microtransactions?
No, say it. They definitely say it.
I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up afterwards and just to confirm.
Yeah.
But how crazy is it that a selling point to a video game is now no microtransactions added?
Well, you know why?
What a world we live. I'm sorry. What a world in video games we live in.
It's because they're like they're not the only company that does microtransactions in games.
Admittedly speaking,
but they are the king of microtransactions.
I feel like they needed to actually say that though, because their biggest offender was a Star Wars title. Which is why they had to come out, at least specifically for this game, and say
for this
no microtransactions involved. Again, I'm going to look up that video because that's crazy. But the game looks awesome. It has the perspective of being either with the Empire or with the Rebels. The different types of ships and how they operate, like basically the tank, the support, your all around terrain, even though there's no terrain.
Speedster, yeah.
You know, and man, it just I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, this is so rad. And then it's also VR enabled. I'm like, oh, that's even better. Like I might pick up VR for this, and that's really saying something for a title that's from EA.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a crazy thing to say, but it just looks that good.
I'm pretty certain that Lucas film and that whole team was like, listen, do not mess this up. Here's what we want you to do.
Lucas? No, this is Disney.
You know that Lucasfilm is part of Disney, right? And they're in charge.
I still have this image of Disney putting the hammer down on EA hard, being like, "Why did you do this?"
I imagine it's not necessarily Disney. It's the Star Wars team, which is Lucasfilm and Lucas.
But you know what? But you know what? They probably say like, "We're gonna call Uncle Mickey if this shit keeps up."
I think Uncle Mickey did get called. I think Uncle Mickey. No, seriously, I think Uncle Mickey got called.
They got the Mickey from South Park.
That's my image right there in my head. Uncle Mickey got called.
My only thing about that goes against that is the idea that does EA have any Disney license outside of Star Wars?
Wait, what was the question?
Well, my thing is, like, you could call Disney proper, but what power do they actually have over EA? Like, other than, like, it's not like they have any actual... Are there any other Disney properties that EA is publishing for them? Besides Star Wars?
No, I think you're right. It is just Star Wars.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, you can call Disney lawyer, but, like... No, look,
I don't think it matters.
I think it matters a little bit because...
You know, here's why I agree with Randy, Sean. It's because they have the ultimate paperwork document called a contract, where regardless of however they feel, EA paid for the licensing of Star Wars.
They did.
So it's just like they get to do what they want with it to a certain degree, so long as it doesn't like slander anything or just ruin anything that's coming out that Disney has for Star Wars related products. And so long as they continue to release titles for it, kind of like the whole thing with Sony and Spider-Man. It's like Sony wanted to keep Spider-Man, so we got Spider-Man 3. It was crap, but it was long enough for them to keep that title. Same kind of goes with Star Wars. So as much as we'd like to joke to say like Mickey showed up and just started kicking people in the nuts and whatnot, ultimately that's not what it is.
I'm probably
more so. I think it was more so of just like bad press and trying to start making money again, especially when they realized how much money their last Star Wars game made.
No,
it's probably.
No.
I'd also say they probably call them
but...
producers that are, or not producers, but people who are part of the IP brand. So like not say Kathleen Kennedy, but maybe Dave Filoni, even anyone part of the Star Wars story group. There's a whole squad there. They're the team that's responsible for things like Star Wars Rebels like and all them. Yeah, so
Rebels
it's like,
and continuity and whatnot.
Yeah, but even then they're like, hey, here's what you guys need to do. Don't be dumb. Don't mess this up. Please, Lord.
Yeah.
And I think it looks good. The only thing that I'm bummed by, and I got confirmation this morning, is that it's only in the cockpit view, which I understand why, because they even talk about it's like you're going to be able to see all the because like using VR, you can look through the windows and the through the inside the cockpit and see all the dials.
That I don't like.
I think that's cool for the experience, but I'm more of a chase view guy. Like I like to be able to see the ship, and I'm like
Rogue
that's
Squadron.
the only thing that would prevent me from getting it. At the same time, damn, I get to fly an X-wing into combat with some friends, maybe. Hell yeah, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
So they said no microtransactions.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll still get extended DLC?
Probably. I can't imagine. I mean, I can't imagine they won't. If they don't do it, I imagine it's just like a knee-jerk reaction to everyone. Every EA trying to like pivot back, and I'm like, that's too far, man.
Yeah, and they're missing a bunch of ships that exist in lore. Like, there's no B-wing.
No.
There's an interceptor, but there's the tri-interceptor.
But they also don't.
Could be there too.
I mean, it could all those ships could end up being there. We don't know until they show more, because all we got was the launch trailer and which looks good. The single player story mode looks really dope that you get to play both sides. It actually kind of reminds me of how Colony Wars was, where in that whole entire franchise you get to play both sides. So, hoping that they'll add.
Except Vengeance, right? Vengeance was the one where you only had one.
Yeah. Yeah, Avengers was the only one.
But it was basically where both armies ended up uniting because
Something
they were
like
both
that.
being manipulated. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of what made me laugh is I'm sure there's gonna be people really upset about how that there are, because they talk about having a diverse crew that you can get, and people are like, oh my god, I put that in their face. I'm like, why not? Why the hell not? How come every time I see a Star Wars, it's a pretty white farm boy?
With the occasional alien,
yeah, and I'm like, oh,
1 alien out of 10.
But yeah, and I think that's a good. The game at least has good qualities that they're showing now.
And here's the thing about it too is I wasn't really into any of the space games that Star Wars had.
Oh really?
No,
oh, man,
no.
Like
it was always more so of just like the last one, or let's go back to Knights of the Old Republic or things like that. Like I was never interested in the space combat aspect of it. This game's no, this is still worth taking a look into, even if you're not a fan of it. Man, that looks so cool.
I mean, I've been wanting
to get to have a bobblehead too.
Since what was it? Star Wars. I think was it Battlefront on PSP. They had it where you can do it was the first game they had where you can do the space combat, and then you can dock into any other ship, and then you continue the combat there. And I just remember, flying an A-wing. Flying an A-wing in, going into a Star Destroyer, go in, and then find the generator, shoot it, and then go fly out in the TIE Fighter. I'm like, yep, here we go. Yep. I'm like, man, I wish we can do more like this. And then, years later, now we have something. I don't know if we can do any of that I just described, but the fact that they're going to have ship-to-ship combat, which is dope. You can have, flight to fleet. They have.
I think they're primarily focusing on just the space aerial combat,
which I'm fine with. I'm totally okay with that. It looks really good. My only complaint really is that there's no chase view, which I understand why. I read, I guess one of the producer of the game was talking about it was not an easy decision to make, but they wanted to have the experience of being in the ships of Star Wars.
Do you think that'll be one of the future DLCs?
Probably not.
No.
Based on how they design the game, probably not. I mean, if they try and patch it, it might come with some drawbacks. Because
it would take longer to come out, and shit like that. It would just
I mean, not necessarily in the sense of coming out immediately, Sean. Just more so maybe a year from now,
maybe there'll be a patch there.
Maybe there'll be a patch or something.
Because one of the things they focus on is the idea that you can get your loadout without it necessarily being a UI. Your view of the inside the cockpit, that's the UI. So you get to see your thruster and how many missiles you have left, all that stuff.
That was one of the first things that it talks about.
Yeah, all your shields and everything. I'm like, I get it. At the same time, I can't maybe make that, but we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe in 6 months after launch, like, hey guys, we released a patch. Here you go. I'm like, sweet. Now cool. I get to see my ship get blasted out of the sky.
Or
I just want to see the ship in total.
You get to see yourself chasing other ships, shooting them down.
See. I don't know. I have a feeling I'll just be like, oh, that poor bastard, the first Red 5 in Rogue One. Oh, poor guy.
Whatever.
But no, it looks good. I am cautiously optimistic about it because it is an EA title. But their video, I found it more funny that their videos were very much hitting the points of, yeah, we know what we did wrong before. We swear this time, guys.
Like everything that you can get cosmetically can be unlocked in game.
Here we go, for reals. We mean it this time.
But if you want that DLC Darth Vader tie advanced, then yeah.
$bucks for that. If they give a season pass, I'm like, I guess I'm buying the season pass. Boom. What's that? I can fly as the ghost from Rebels? Hell yeah, let's do this.
Done! There you go.
Well, they'll probably incorporate some of the space fights, or even maybe some of the planetary fights. Since it's all
to be honest, games. They were like, if they did classic battles, because I'm like, I want to do the Death Star run. Hell yeah, let's do this.
I suppose that would be really neat, especially from the cockpit view. That would be really rad.
Yeah, so, I mean,
just imagine it. You start off the level. Oh, shit. You start off the level way far away from the Death Star, and then as you progress, you just start getting closer and closer. You start being able to see the magnitude of how big this thing is until you're actually in the area to shoot in the port.
Yeah.
Damn,
I guess I'd want to be able to hear Han Solo go, just you show up out of nowhere. I'm like, oh shit, there's Han Solo. Thanks, buddy. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I was actually even thinking about that. Like, they'll probably end up having release content for other ships, like the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
maybe.
Which would be, kind of cool.
There's no B-wing in that whole fleet, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, that's a DLC ship you could put in.
So you know what? So this leads to. Let me ask you guys this question.
Yeah, no, that's why I said the A-wings there.
What do you guys think is considered an acceptable microtransaction?
I mean, like stage it. Like if you're doing like small cosmetic things, and you're charging a large amount more than like for a pack of those things. If you're charging more than I'll say like $4, $5, then no, hell no. But if it's like, if you're getting like actual extra content that affects gameplay, or not even gameplay, but like is it added stuff, not just cosmetic. Like I have like we talked about new ships. If we get a new ship pack, and I'm like, yeah. If it's like a bunch of them, I will pay $5 for each pack. Or if they have a bundle, I will pay $20 for that. But if it's like, oh look, color skins or decals or this,
$5 each for every decal.
Okay, so what's an acceptable price for a decal then?
99 cents.
Not even,
and that's
not even.
But
price
then
them individually.
But then it goes. It's if you want just the one. But if you want to get like a pack of 10 for $4.99. Like it's got to be more than.
So if you buy them in bulk, it's cheaper.
Yes, give me that option. Do that.
Okay.
Because there are times where a lot of games will have it where you can buy a character by itself, or a colorway or whatever, costume style by itself. Okay. That's for the people who only want the one thing because they don't want to spend all that extra. Like, no, but really just focus on bundle. Bundle, and it's got to be more. Like, don't do the whole $1 each item. Hell no.
No.
If it's not affecting, if it's not an extra character or anything like that, nope, do not do that.
All right, makes sense.
Hell
no. Are you guys going to pick it up at launch? It's coming out October 2nd.
I am debating it, but I'm also debating like, dang, do I want to get VR for this? And be like, hell yeah. Fly around, helmet on, probably smacking my child on accident because he's trying to ask me a question.
He's a little too close. Yeah.
But
John, what about you? Are you picking it up October 2nd?
No.
No?
Not even at all.
It's not on your radar?
Not because it's not on my radar. It's on the radar, but it's not something I would want because I don't have VR. 2, there's essentially going to be a PlayStation 5 coming out real soon. So are you going to have me shell out a game for the PS4 and then there's going to be a PS5 coming out?
So are you not buying any
games?
That's the
problem.
Are you not buying any games for your current gen consoles this holiday?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. I mean, I think my PlayStation 4 collection right now is pretty complete, like so far. Nothing else is sticking out to me where I'm like, I need to get that before I need to get a PlayStation 5 sort of thing. I don't know. Like right now, once that comes out,
if PS5 is backwards compatible, like they say, I mean, wouldn't that make a difference?
That would totally make a difference. We don't know much of the backwards compatibility of the PS5.
I would assume that at least the newer titles coming out would be backwards compatible. Since most of those companies probably have the dev kit for the PS5, they can make it work.
Yeah, we would hope. But sometimes that's not how things work. So
it's also true.
Oh, yeah.
Right, you know what? I mean, go ahead, Sean.
So, yeah, right now, until Last of Us 2 comes out, which apparently some people are already getting it, I'm not. I'm staying the hell away from LPs.
Well, no, I mean, it's out now. Like, I could have bought it yesterday.
I know. I
walked in, I'm like, oh, do I want to get this? And I'm like,
I haven't left the place, but now that what I'm hearing from you when we were off the air, when Emmanuel was dealing with internet foibles, I may just try and see if I can leave and go get that now.
Yeah. So, game stores are open, so you can pick up your games if you want to.
Sweet. And then I can kick over a desk. Where's my copy of Final Fantasy Remake?
Now, what you need to do is you grab the... you go by the shelves where all the game cases are, and you just swipe them down, and then you walk away.
That's everyone does that. No. I I don't know.
Okay, fine. If you want to be real messed
guy.
up, hold on. If you want to be real messed up, you go take your time very quietly, very, very ninja-like, and unface every game case on a shelf.
You've put a lot of thought into this, haven't you?
I will not admit to any such thing that may or may not have occurred at various stores here in the Bay Area to employees who may or may not have incurred my wrath.
But me and Randy have owned a video game store at some point, and if someone has done that, that would drive us fucking nuts.
What the hell, guys? What the hell's that? That's really messed up. I know that would make me mad because that means that I have to be the one who takes it. Because to knock them down, that's one thing. Because then you just pick them up, you put on whatever. But like to unface each one, and then you have to go there and reface them.
Like how petty is that? But it's just such.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty petty. That's pretty petty.
Yeah,
I'd like to look that guy in the eye and go, "I respect it. You're an ass.
Yeah,
I respect it.
You son of a bitch. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite.
You gotta be really lucky. Don't say anything while you're walking in. Like you greet them, then wait till they're like quiet and not do anything. You just
one of my favorite moments of working at a video game store was we were talking, myself, the manager, and the part-timer. We were at the registers and we were talking. Everything was already done. It was like maybe 11:30, so on a weekend. So the rush hasn't quite hit us yet. But there was this one kid that was looking at PS3 titles, just to kind of give you an idea of how long ago this was. And I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to align the trays that are holding the game. But what he accidentally does is he knocks the entire line out. So all the games in that line, like the shelving for it, fall down. And we look, and then we look at the kid, and the kid has this look of like bloody murder, like, oh my God, what have I done? And just bolts out of the store at full speed. And our walls were glass because we were inside the mall, so we can see where he's going. So not only do we see him running, but we see him start running down the escalator of the mall, just trying to get away, like we were going to actually go after him for knocking over the titles. And we're just sitting there dying laughing. Not because, like, I was like, you know what? It's almost worth having to go and fix this just because of that kid's reaction. Like, he thought we were going to fuck him up because he did that. And it was just like, no, man, that was just like hella funny to us.
It's a funny moment.
Yeah.
It's funny moments.
Like, he was just like, oh, shit. No.
It happened.
I swear, if that kid was any faster, there would have been a dust cloud right there.
Nice. A boy-sized hole in the wall.
Yeah. Like perfectly aligned with his body and everything.
Exactly.
It's like, how did his sweater go right through the wall too? I can see that still.
He was really fast.
He was really scared is what he was.
Yeah.
So another thing you told me about Randy, and I thought it was kind of funny because like I did a second take and I'm like, oh my God, he's right. You'd sent us the topic of a lot of people think that the presenters of the PS5 event were all CGI.
There's a weird theory, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, Sean, did you see this?
I caught that too and went, oh, you're CGing people now. Okay.
I didn't get a chance to do this yet. I have a theory as to why that is. And you know what? I'll give you guys the theory, and you can let me know if you agree or you disagree. But I think the reason that it looks like that is because that was all shot for specifically 4K viewing. And anybody who's trying to watch it on any other quality lower than that would see this like weird, like this doesn't fit. Like if I were, because I watched it at work on a computer. My monitor is not 4K. I'm not so lucky to where I can have a 4K monitor on my desk, but I put it on 4K anyways. I still want to rewatch that on a 4K monitor or a 4K television, but I honestly think that's why people are just like, this doesn't look right. This looks so strange. It's because when they made it specifically for 4K. That's my theory. What do you guys think?
I mean, it might be a little bit of that. Really what it is because I read that article, and they did reach out to Sony and some of the other companies that are involved in this, and a lot of the presenters, if not all, did it from their homes. And obviously, if you're doing it from your homes, your resources are different. The smaller studios may not have the same equipment available to them. Like right now with Zoom, there's actually a feature where you can have them like basically touch up the image. Like if we look in our Zoom settings, you can see that it'll do a thing. So there might be a weirdness about it. Like I don't have that enabled.
Please don't do that to mine.
I don't have
my vanity will like skyrocket.
Right. That's
like,
a thing that you have to set up.
Sexy, like,
See, actually, can I do that for everybody?
You know,
I'm gonna go with no. But yeah, there is an option in Zoom, and I'm pretty certain that when they did do,
damn it, now you made me curious.
Yeah, look, you see, it's called touch up appearance.
Let's see.
It's in our video settings.
It's not that great, man.
I mean, it's just a filter.
It's a filter, and now Emmanuel disappears.
No, he's gone.
God damn it!
But yeah, I mean, they're not necessarily CGI'd, but I'm sure they did touch up the videos.
Well, you know what? Let's take a look. Let's see if that's what it was, and we'll
stop touching things.
Don't do it, Emmanuel. Don't do it.
I'll be the guinea pig. I'll take one for the team.
No, don't.
You will disappear, and then me and Randy are doing a show, and then fine.
And that works out for us. That works out for us.
I suppose.
Oh, Sean, if you haven't already realized, this was Randy's plan all the time.
I did it. Yes. No. But no. It's
all right, I've turned it on. You guys let me know.
I don't know.
Not really.
Do I look CG?
No, not you. It's not everyone. It's whoever. It's
whoever turns it on.
If you enable it, it's for you specifically. But they also, since they recorded these videos at home, they probably, when they sent it out, they probably had people, the editors and whatnot, they look at it and like, okay, we can touch these up. No.
I see the touch up, but it's very minor. I don't think it's enough to where like it would have done anything for the people themselves.
What made me laugh is because they bring up the point in the article that I had posted about how if there's a disclaimer before the PlayStation event like video starts that they said that this was sourced from the PS5 console, and that's why I'm like, oh no, everyone's CG. And I'm like,
one, that's why they do it. Two,
like,
it's like, well, because you look better when you're completely rendered in
4K. Also not true. It meant gameplay was sourced.
Yeah, no, it says games. It does say games in there.
Games are in there, so not presenters.
And presenters.
I'm like, that means
you look beautiful in 4K.
But you know what's crazy is that if you look at it, they do look like they're computer generated images
because they were touched up and
and it's just
that's also the thing when you record from a source higher than what you can output, it does look weird.
Yeah. But it also kind of goes to where we're at technologically, to where now it's starting to get to the point where it's just like it looks realistic enough, but there's also the possibility that, hey, this is fake. Like we were joking around, we were like, hey, let's do a deep fake of Back to the Future with Tom Holland instead of Michael J. Fox. You know, it's just that's how crazy it's gotten to where you can do that. It'll literally look like it's Tom Holland the entire time. It's just crazy. So it wouldn't have been a stretch
real life right now. Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a stretch if they did do that, is what I'm saying.
I mean, it's funny that that's what the people take away from, like, never mind that the lack of price, which apparently that has supposedly leaked, but the source isn't vetted 100%. But yeah.
500 for the download and 600 for the disc.
It's actually it's $399 for digital and $499 for the optical drive. But that's again rumor and has not been vetted as far as the.
What do you guys think of the price if that is the port?
I mean, that's on point for what they've done before.
That's what you should have done,
and that's what they should keep it at.
If it's higher, said it last week.
If it's higher than that, I'm like, you should wait a little bit.
Wow, guess I'm getting a sex box.
Like, let's wait for the bundles to start coming out with the console. You know, where it's the same price, but you get a game with it or something.
Yeah, the idea that I'm like, oh no, the presenters are CG. I'm like. I think if the presenters were in CG, then games would look so much more better on a regular basis than that. It's like all the time it would look this good.
All right, so we're just about to hit that 90-minute mark. We got about maybe 15 minutes.
Yep.
So there was an article that came out, and I forgot to send it to you guys, and I feel bad about it. But there was an article that, of all places, NPR put out about the soundtrack for the Streets of Rage 4 game. Where they got like not only the original developer, but like other people who came in and started remixing it, because the idea was that they didn't want to just do a fresh update on the audio or just go off of the same audio. Mm-hmm. They wanted to create new stuff. So enough of both worlds. Otherwise, it's just like cheap cop out. And it got me thinking about like how important music goes with video games, whether it was something from back in the 90s to even today. So I wanted to ask you guys, when it comes down to video game music, what's some of your favorite stuff that you like, that you sometimes hum in your head, something that'll get you going? I'll go ahead and start off. I have always been a fan of the King of Fighters stage music or team music, because some of those audio tracks are really cool. It even comes to the point where I'll even use them for workouts. Like that's my thing. Like some people, depending on what they're trying to do, will listen to like music that has a particular beat pattern because they're running or anything like that. And like, no, give me the Korean team's music from King of Fighters '97.
That's choice.
Rad right there. That gets me going, you know? Or the Ikari team.
Oh yeah, also good choice.
The Ikari team's like, yeah, like the Ikari team I've actually used as the opening at one point when we had a guest. Like it's such a cool sound to it, and it's just like, wow. Like I really wish I had appreciated this more 20 years ago. But yeah, do you guys have any favorite music from video games?
I mean, there's always the classic ones. I mean, you have like the Super Mario Brothers. That music very iconic. Even with I like the Legend of Zelda theme. But there's one that always like sometimes when I'm just walking around, I'll go Killer, Killer. Was it Orchid's music from Killer Instinct? And it's like yeah, that soundtrack. I mean, obviously it was one of those things where the fighting games traditionally have really good music because it sets the tone of how the game is, and it's like it's like, you know, hearing that. I mean, even though it was a Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo, they actually came with that soundtrack. It's like, yeah.
It did. That's right.
You have the CD. Here we go, guys. And then, like, you listen to it. Here you go. I mean, or even Guile's theme. I mean, like, yeah.
Because that goes with everything.
And I'm trying to find scenarios where it doesn't. And, you know, I'm sure there is, but it's not as fun.
It's more fun to actually try to look for things that don't go with it at this point, because then when you're like, hey, I think I've got something, and then you put it together and you're like, nope, it still works.
Somehow it still worked.
Sean, what about you, man? What's some of your favorite music in video games?
So it's weird because I remember a time when music in video games were really amazing, and everyone's like, oh, the soundtrack's so good. Parasite Eve and a bunch of the Final Fantasies and whatnot. Just like, oh, nothing can be done wrong. And then it felt like there was nothing, no great music and sound, or no good songs in video games. And like, well, hold on. Now, I think you are just being a little too nostalgic. I mean, pay attention. There are things out there that are really good. And like, let's be real. Like, some of the songs in Grand Theft Auto, are licensed, but some of the stuff that they come up with originally or just made for the game, still pretty good. And
you're not gonna bring up Love Fist, are you?
On top of that,
admittedly speaking, it was good. But
Love Fist.
I mean, I guess Love Fist, sure, but even things like when the weird jump from the PlayStation, like from the 32 to like, you know, like Xbox and whatnot. Like Halo. Halo soundtrack, it's subtle, but it does get epic, and then it gets even more epic, and like, and you can't hear like the first intro without thinking, oh, some shit's about to get real, and you love it. The very beginning of the intro of Halo. I mean, fuck, damn, like, the only thing I'm coming up with is Halo right now, and I can't say that like it's my favorite, but it's very modern, very
iconic.
Very iconic. I mean, hell, Last of Us, the music for that, like, just when you turn on the game and you just see the window and the curtains blowing in the window, and it'll play a little bit of the music, and you go, "Ooh, yeah, some shits did get real," and yeah, okay.
It's crazy.
And you feel the impact of the game as the game goes on, and just little things like the strumming of of the guitar and whatnot. You get it. You get the feeling of the game. And sometimes games don't even need like iconic music. I mean, hell, or even a really great soundtrack. Shit, Silent Hill really doesn't really have a soundtrack, but when you hear it, you're immediately.
I mean, it has a score.
Its job.
It does have a score.
It has. I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess it does have a score.
Yeah.
You could hear 3-4 notes of it and go and immediately be creeped out, and it does the job of the game. Which is like, you can't ask for anything more.
It's crazy too how far video game developers are going to include certain music to its titles. Like one that really still stands out to me, and I hate that I'm saying it because I hate the company. You guys know this, but when Bethesda made Elder Scrolls V, and then they were creating the intro music, where it's just like they're singing in Nordic about the coming of the Dovahkiin. What they end up doing for it is they have 3 groups of 30 people singing it. And then they put it together to make it sound like this giant hall of music is singing this song.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's amazing. That's so crazy. And that's how far they went. And then when you start getting into moments where a dragon appears and you start fighting it, that music just starts kicking in. Like, oh shit, the Dovahkiin's about to go down. Like, he's about to fight a dragon. What's going to happen? And you just start getting into it. Like, oh, I'm going to fuck this dragon up. Like, just wait. Just wait till you come down, dude. Wait for that animation to be just like taking a battle axe to your head. Like, man, like, it's one of those things where, like, if you're playing Elder Scrolls and you're like, I don't really feel like fighting a dragon, but then the dragon starts getting closer to you and then the music starts playing, you're like, oh, it's going down. We're doing this now. Fight you. I will fight you.
That's why we love video game music.
It does a really good job of setting the tone. I am a fan of a lot of the music from Final Fantasy VII, but if I were to say I have a favorite, it's a tie. I know I just said there's a bunch. It's either the boss battle music or the music that plays when you fight Jenova.
Sure.
Because the Jenova one, the boss battle is just really cool. It's a solid rock track. But the Jenova one, what's really cool is that you know you're in for a serious fight because this theme was made specifically for just this boss. Like, you don't get this music for anybody else, just for Jenova. Outside of, like, say, for Sephiroth and all that. But, like Jenova's theme has this really cool, like, this kind of like a haunting start, and then it goes into, like, a battle cry. You know?
Yeah, I suppose.
Anything
else? I mean, I don't have any like favorites. There's no, you can't. It's impossible. You can't. I can't pick out a favorite one for me.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be like the all-time favorite, but some of your favorites. Like, I think we were talking off the air, and you had mentioned Devil May Cry.
Well, Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry 5 just came out, and Devil Trigger's really dope. And it's like, fuck, man, I love the hell out of this track. And then Smash Brothers has their track, and they're like, damn, like the intro is really, really good. And like, I played Persona 5.
This is weird, Sean, because I feel like you're stressing out, like trying to figure out what music is talking about.
There is no.
We're not saying like they're ultimate. We're not asking for a definitive. This is the track from all time. We're just like, what are some favorites that you have? Like, I just mentioned ones that pop in my head on more than one occasion.
It's impossible. Can't do it.
So you don't have songs that you don't have just that pop in your head at all? Not even the ones that you just mentioned?
Or that you listen to outside of gaming?
No. They all pop.
No, that's also, I'm going to say that's also not true, but okay.
They all
pop. Not every soundtrack pops in your head. That's not true.
Not everyone.
Well, then,
like, definitely games that I've played that I'm like, ooh, yeah. Like Dovahkiin, sure, I get that. Like, I know that track. I've never played
like River City Girls got a really good soundtrack.
River City Girls got a great soundtrack, yeah. And trust me, they all pop in my head. Sometimes when I'm driving my forklift and I'm thinking, I want a girl to kick my ass, and I'm like, yeah, there you go. It's fucking great. So, I mean, I can't pick a favorite one. They'll all pop in my head.
Well, I didn't say a.
You didn't say a favorite. Some.
I know. Some.
So the idea is that because you love them all, you are
hard to choose.
You are paralyzed by choice.
Not paralyzed.
Well, no, because you can't choose. That means you're paralyzed by choice.
Oh, I guess paralyzed by choice, yes, but happily paralyzed by choice? That's fine.
Fair enough.
That's okay. I remember the Killer Cuts, and when Killer Instinct came out, they did remixes of those Killer Cuts, and they're all amazing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, because it's the idea they're advertising the sound chip on the good old Super NES.
Super Nintendo. Yeah.
You know, I think I still have that CD somewhere.
And I think the title. Go ahead, John.
Every now and again, Bloody Tears from Castlevania pops in my head, and I'm like, yes, fucking yeah, and it's great.
Yeah.
And it could be doing shit while I'm like cleaning the house or cooking or fucking whatever. They all pop in my head.
I don't know, man. I always think of was it a favorite game from Gran Turismo 2? And when I'm driving, it's
by
like
the Cardigans. No, I get you,
yeah,
and I get it, and it's good.
Or even
and
Ridge Racer 5. There's that opening track.
You just pulled out Gran Turismo. Yeah, the Ridge Racer 5's track right in the beginning.
And I think what really for me was just like, wow, like video game music can be really cool. Going back to it for a sec was the first level of Streets of Rage 2. Like that. Sure. That's just like for me was the introduction. Like, yeah, this could be really cool. Like you can actually incorporate video game music really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It really sets the tone for everything else, and that was one of the major titles for me that was just like, wow, this is cool. Maybe it's also because like when you looked at the Nintendo and the Sega Genesis was trying to be different. Like it was still video games, but they tried to make like darker or more edgier stuff, nothing necessarily family friendly. Like Fatal Fury, you go and you beat up a bunch of gangbangers on the street. Where did you see that in the original Nintendo? In the same
Final Fight.
Yeah, it's like
the original Nintendo.
Well, there's Mighty Fight. There's no Fatal Fury on the original Nintendo, and also there's Mighty Final Fight.
No, but what I'm saying is like as far as what Sega was trying to do when it came down to it, and it's just like not only did they go into the different direction of just like the play of style, but also of the sound that it was creating as well. Like it was trying to push what the Genesis could do as far as music or sound effects to where if you play certain titles that came out for both the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, like there was a distinct difference in sound to it as well. Like I would say that graphically the Super Nintendo was the better, unless there's maybe one or two titles where the Genesis had it beat. But when it came down to the sound effects and the music, I was always like leaning more towards Genesis than anything else. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what else comes out as far as music for video games. What like independent artists will do with that music, because you have so many different types of remixes that come out.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bloody Tears, for instance, there are so many different renditions of Bloody Tears. People are just like, they're fascinated by it, and they're like, but what if they did this? And they start turning things and adding things and lowering things, and you get something of the same effect, but just through the imagination of a different artist, which is always cool, because it kind of just goes to show that the original piece is powerful enough to where people want to do something with it. Yeah, man. Video games, music video games, pretty freaking rad.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, we've just about hit the 90-minute mark. So I leave the floor open to you guys as far as what you guys have for final words. If you want to put out your social medias, where they can find you. Just a quick reminder for everybody outside of just like the word vomit stuff.
Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. I'm probably going to be streaming a little later tonight.
So check it out Saturday. Monday.
Yeah. I need to finish up. See, because Final Fantasy VII Remake loves to throw me a curveball, and I thought I was going to get into the Shinra building last week, and that is not what happened. I instead had to do a little bit of a side mission, side quests, some bosses, and now I'm at the point where I need to get into the Shinra building, so I got to do that, and I'll stream that. Maybe a little bit of Maneater too for some fun. My nephew, I wish I got this on stream. My nephew, who's like, "Oh, you have Maneater," because he watches my stream, and has this gimmick where he plays the shark, grabs the turtle by like a sea turtle by the butt, and turns the turtle towards the camera, and you can see the turtle in complete horror. And I'm like, dear God, just eat the turtle. Stop. I don't want to see him suffer. And he's like, no. I'm like, you are a sick little man. Give me this. And I had to eat the turtle. I'm like, don't play with your food. And then he'll do it again to a seal. And I'm like, you need Jesus. Get out of here.
He's a shark. He doesn't have religion.
No, my nephew is doing this. So,
his nephew needs Jesus.
Yeah. And
his nephew needs Jesus Christo.
Yeah, he's like, it's not that traumatic. And his little sister walks in. He's like, what are you doing to that sea turtle?
Being a shark, man. Sharks be like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, stop it. He's already dead. So,
all right.
I wish I got that on stream, but I mean, yeah. Also, I made a little bit more headway in. This is my fault. I'll say it now. My writer's block for Betrayal at House on the Hill, episode 2, has been kicking my ass, and I have just gotten to a point where I'm like, you know what? F it. Just do it. I'm in my own head. This is what's happening. It's I'm gonna beat my writer's block with a bat.
Writer's block? Yeah. I mean, don't you just editing them together?
I guess editing block would be it. Because like
I know you don't write them because we did the thing.
I know we did the thing. So I'm gonna put some headway into that tonight, and hopefully later tonight I'll have it done, and we will see when that comes out. So yeah.
All right, Randy.
I mean,
final words. Any socials that anybody can follow?
Be kind to everyone out there. If you're listening in the Bay Area, don't immediately rush out to those retail stores. Try and give them a little bit of time to get used to having people come in and wash your hands, wear a mask. Not that hard.
Worst case scenarios, you look silly for a day. That's the worst.
I look rad.
That's the worst case scenario. So, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening or watching. Next episode is episode 200. We do have Sarah coming back in for that. Yeah. We also have Chris. Chris will be joining us via Zoom as well. So we look forward for that one episode. So thank you so much for listening. If you've been following us since episode 1, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you on episode 200. Until then, as Randy was saying, be kind to each other, people, especially in these times of chaos. A little kindness goes a long way. Thank you very much.